All righty. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good Thursday evening. As always, I'm your host, Casey Halpern, and I'm thrilled to be joined by avid gambler and Modern Family's very own Clive Bixby. Clive, it's great to see you. Welcome to the stream. How are we feeling? You're on mute, it seems like. Hold on. Some technical difficulties here. You could hear me, correct? All right, we're going to I'll remove you and just join right back. Yeah. All right, some technical difficulties, but we're going to get rocking and rolling in 1 second here. Hope everyone likes my hat, and I don't know where I got it, but I'm not having a hair day like GRP, so I had to improvise here on the fly. But yeah, an exciting Thursday night football matchup for the first time in God knows how long. So excited to see this AFC North battle between the Ravens and Bengals. And hopefully we get Clive back here shortly. So right now on Profit Exchange, the Bengals are plus 3.5, plus 106, and the Ravens are minus 3.5, minus 109. And the Bengals are plus 176 on the money line with an over-under of 46.5. I'm going to wait for Clive to give the total that I like. Excuse me, I just should have previewed it a bit better. But hopefully we'll have him back here as he was experiencing some difficulties. But should be an interesting game. We got Joe Burrow, who's apparently a little banged up. Some reports just surfaced of him maybe having a little wrist mouth issue. He's wearing a brace off the bus, and the Bengals deleted it right after. So kind of interesting. So keep an eye on that. All right. Take two. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we're good. This is why we use a pen and paper and a notebook. This is, technology can let us down. Technology could fail us. Wow.
We got more and more people need to get the spiral notebooks like GRP.
Yeah. What a mess.
It's all good. We're ready to rock, and let's get into it.
Yeah.
It's already week 11. What's your biggest takeaway so far on the season?
On the season? I mean, it's a good question. Was in a chat the other day, and what I was most surprised about, there are a couple of teams. Philadelphia has not surprised me. They're what I thought. Detroit has played a little bit better than I thought. But I will say Seattle being 6-3 is a little surprising. When you look at their point differential, it's in the single digits. So I don't know that the record's necessarily indicative of them being a 6-3 team, kind of like what you dealt with the Vikings last year. But Houston by far is the biggest surprise for me personally. Maybe I tend to judge rookie quarterbacks a little too harshly coming out of the gate, but I mean, he's been able to throw downfield really effectively, and then he's been fun to watch.
He really has. And before we touch on CJ, just speaking of the Seahawks, just completely malpractice what they did at the trade deadline, trading a second-round pick for Leonard Big Cat Williams. I mean, just absolutely insane.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't understand that. I mean, they're also not really close to.
No,
they're not that one piece away team.
And that's not the type of guy that's going to make them get over the hump either.
No, and when you can get Chase Young for a third-round pick like San Francisco did, I mean, it's not. I'm a Bears fan, so I also have a problem with what the Bears did with their trade for somebody that they had to sign for premium money anyway. So you traded away a second-round pick when you're a bottom 3 team, and
you can sign for 5 months.
Well, yeah, I mean, they ultimately, I think, came to an agreement on a contract or whatever, but there was plenty of free agents that are going to be around, at the end of the season. So, what are you doing?
It's truly amazing how many imbeciles run these teams. I mean, I'm a Jets fan, so I'm in the same boat as you, my friend.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts to see things that just really don't make a lot of sense.
It's just bad process, and it's not leading to good results. It's just I don't know. Something's got to change. I mean, that's why you see more and more coaches and GMs fired than ever before. So be interesting to see what happens in the off seasons for a lot of these teams. All right, but let's talk about tonight's Thursday night football game. We finally have a great game. What should be a good one? AFC North battle, Ravens and Bengals. Currently, the Bengals are +3.5 at +106 on Profit Exchange. Ravens -3.5. Just moved to -111 from -108 with an over/under 46.5. What do you like tonight?
So earlier in the week, I played over 44.5 in this game. I do think that there's going to be an abundance of points here. Cincinnati has some injury issues on the defensive side, and I just expect both offenses to kind of come out and hum tonight. But you also have the I'm not a big trends guy, but we keep hearing, right, primetime unders. I don't know if that's going to be the case here. And, I tend to truly, maybe I over respect the market, but I respect the market. And, if the number was 44 at the beginning of the week and now we're at 46.5, depending on where you're looking, to me, I think that means I probably made a pretty good bet.
I think you did because you got a point better than I did because I took the same bet. I got 45.5 the other day. I also like the over, obviously. I think Cincinnati's defense has been struggling and it's kind of been glossed over because, they beat the Niners, they beat the Bills. But when you take away turnovers, I think they're ranked bottom 5 in defensive EPA this year. And obviously the loss of Hubbard and Hendrickson's pretty massive up front.
Yeah.
It's just I kind of think the Ravens might be able to have their way with them tonight. And I think the Bengals will be able to score some points on the Ravens themselves. I love Mike McDonald's also the best coordinator in football, in my opinion. So what he's done with this group has been nothing short of amazing. But that being said, I just think we're going to see an electric Thursday night football game for the first time in what feels like forever.
Yeah, we gotta hope, right? Like, 'cause there's been some real stinkers. Like, Carolina, Chicago was one that was pretty ugly. Just
Denver KC was bad. Like, I mean, like all the primetime games just seem like they're all just so blah. But like,
well, yeah, and there's an ability to flex out of some of these games, and it's just not happening. It's not like these teams are becoming bad either over the course of the week. Like, you have enough lead time, like flex out of them.
Something like my colleague Mike was telling me about it. Like, apparently they like screwed with the rules like this offseason. Like, it made it a lot harder to pluck games from like CBS and Fox of the world. So that's why there hasn't been like a flex to date. But I was astonished the Jets Raiders wasn't flex. But then when I like took a step back and realized like, all right, NBC probably just wanted to go to Vegas. Like, people probably had their trips booked. Like, I understand like New York's a big market, but I don't know. I can't believe Denver, Minnesota didn't get flexed when they could have.
Yeah,
that one's just crazy to me.
it's been quite a season.
It really has. I mean, there's just such a drop off in talent with teams. All right, but so we both like the over. So as you know, obviously you are a profit user. There are two-way markets for everything we offer, including props. We have 13 props available tonight, and you'll be hard pressed to find tighter markets out there. That being said, I want to do rapid fire with you and get yes or no thoughts like quickly on the prop department tonight. All right, we're gonna start it off with Lamar Jackson over under 2 passing touchdowns.
Under.
Burrow 2 passing touchdowns.
And I'm looking at the numbers here, so that's plus 101. I mean, really tight numbers you guys have. Over.
I thought I was presenting it to the audience. That's bad hosting by me. Hold on. You might. Sorry about that. To all those watching at home. All right. Joe Mixon over under 55 rushing yards.
I don't have a particularly strong feeling about this, but I probably would lean under at minus 111.
I would agree with you. This one, I would smash the over if I could. Mark Andrews over under 55 receiving yards. The Bengals cannot defend tight ends.
No, I could see the middle of the field being a little open, and if this game does turn into a shootout, like in terms of the game script that I have in my head, I would probably have to agree. This even 136 seems a little minus 136 seems a touch high, but it feels like an over.
Yeah. Burrow versus Lamar, more passing yards. Burrow minus 178, Lamar plus 172.
That's a tough price. Actually, at the price, I don't hate Lamar Jackson there.
I think I'm with you, and my fantasy team would also enjoy that. So, but who gives a crap about that? Lamar Jackson to score a touchdown tonight.
At plus 178, I like yes. Especially when you think about the defensive line issues. I don't think it's an unreasonable expectation that a scramble, a quarterback sneak, something along those lines.
I'm with you. I really like the number. I mean, the plus 178 here is outrageous compared to all the sports books I was looking at before. DraftKings was hanging plus 130 and FanDuel was like at plus 140. So just drastically different numbers here.
Yeah.
I like Lamar. Gus Bus touchdown plus 138. No, minus 154. Excuse me.
I mean, keep in mind, everybody watching, these are fast reactions. Gus Edwards, I would say yes.
Yes, these are just our gut reactions. We're not advising anyone to pick anything. Just going rapid fire here, so no one just act on anything we say. Odell touchdown, yes, plus 350. No, minus 380.
I like no.
I'm with you. Jamar Chase touchdown plus 136. No, minus 138. Humphrey's obviously banged up and. So could be
it's kind of interesting when you look at the liquidity that we have here too, right? Like there's a lot more out there on the no. So like when people are looking through, some of these lines and what's available, look at those things. But I would probably lean probably lean yes.
It's a great point, and you kind of can get a sense of where people are betting and whatnot. I would lean yes as well. I think Jamar will be able to get his. Joe Mixon, yes, plus 126, no, minus 130. I'm going to take no. I don't think Mixon's going to have a big game tonight. I think they're going to be able to swallow him up a bit. But I think they're going to rely on him in the passing game a bit more than usual with the receiver.
Yeah, I like the no here.
Keaton Mitchell, yes, plus 250, but granted, there's $1 of liquidity currently available on him, and no, minus 255. And then, yes, the next best price is plus 230. This guy has like breakaway speed. He's electric.
Yeah, it's at 230. If I'm thinking of it that way, I kind of like that number. I lean yes.
I'm with you. I'm debating whether I should start him in fantasy tonight as well. Need to win, but got to figure that part out after this stream. Trenton Irwin to score a touchdown. Yes, plus 310. No, minus 400. I like no here. He scored last week. But...
I have no good feeling. I would probably lean no as well. I know it's an inflated price, but that's what I'm thinking.
I would never bet it, but I would lean no. All right, last but not least, Gus Edwards, Joe Mixon rushing yards.
Wow, these prices are really. This one's a wide spread. Geez, I feel like. I mean, I know that I don't mean this to be a cop out, but the answer does feel like it's in the middle, but significantly more so. I mean, Edwards at maybe plus 130, I would take. Mixing at 172, that just seems way too high. I think the 115 is closer than the 172.
I would probably agree with you. But the beautiful thing about our markets is obviously anyone can request better odds. And if you do so this week on any week 11 prop market, we'll actually give you a bonus if you get matched. So for everyone listening, if you request Lamar Jackson anytime touchdown at plus 200 for $100 and it gets matched, we will credit you with $10. So we're basically incentivizing you to give yourself better odds. So for those at home that haven't bet yet on props, I would advise to do what I just said and take advantage of it.
It's been a nice feature being able to do that, right? Like you can't go to the individual sports books and say, hey, can I get this number? I mean, that's not really all that much of an option. So, there are some pretty good uses here to get better prices for yourself. I mean, I don't advocate betting on game day all that often. If you can bet earlier, especially, unless you're trying to get down 20 or 30,000 a game, if you're betting 15, 25, $50 a game, do yourself a favor and bet early and try and get yourself better prices.
It's an incredible feature. It kind of stinks that I'm legally not allowed to bet on our own platform because I just get stuck with the sucker prices on all the sports books. But
yeah,
if you're out there, listen to Clive. He was making great points. All right, let's shift gears to Sunday. Is there an underdog you're eyeing this weekend that you think could maybe win outright?
Talking outright?
Well, let's give one the cover, and if there is a dog you really like to bark, to win.
So of the bigger dogs to cover, I'm actually looking at Carolina. In terms of
102 at plus 10.5 right now, not a bad price.
Yeah, in terms of winning outright, I don't see anything that's really kind of popping out at me that's over a touchdown. Tennessee wouldn't stun me. I think Tampa Bay kind of would. The Jets would. It would stun me. I mean, I think the Bills have had some insanely bad luck given their offensive output this season. Like, really, a lot of things just not going their way. Bears, Detroit, I don't really see much there. Raiders, Dolphins. I mean, I could see the Dolphins offense just absolutely going off. So I think the Packers beating the Chargers, I know that's a smaller one. That would not shock me all that much. In the Eagles, obviously, I mean, that game's, a much tighter matchup in terms of, I think, like, perceived market power ratings. I mean, just going through the board, that's what I see.
Yep, I'm with you. I also played the Panthers as well. And another one I was looking at was Arizona. I also played them earlier in the week at +6, but I kind of think Houston's a little too high right now. I think Kyler looked pretty solid last week. He looked almost 100% running the football too, which I was surprised by. I don't know if they're going to win, but I do like Arizona to cover. So
Yeah, there weren't many games that Rob and I felt strong about. So for any of you guys watching, Rob Pizzola and myself, we do a show Forward Progress, which is early reactions, and that was the one game that we thought was going to move probably the most, and it did. So it's an interesting game. And one of the things I'm thinking about too is comeback player of the year for Kyler. Maybe it's because I maybe want to see GRP get blown up in smoke just because of his lock on the market and how funny it is with the portfolio.
what do you think of his estimates?
I mean, here's what I don't get, right? There's markets out there, right? Like, you have books out there that you can actually look at these numbers, and his estimates just feel like, they're kind of coming out of thin air. Maybe they're not. I don't know. It's just, he's a character. That's really what it boils down to. He's a character.
He really is. It's a great way to put it. I think they might do a remake of A Beautiful Mind, and it's going to star him.
You know what? You might be right, and I think there will be a small community that would actually watch.
I would buy tickets for my entire family. Speaking of comeback player of the year, there's a market I wanted to discuss with you because I feel like it's kind of wide open for the first time in a few years, and that's the MVP market. And I actually made a bet on Monday, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I took Dak Prescott at 40-1 on Monday, just because I think they have a favorable schedule ahead. And I think there is a chance that the Eagles might concede the division to them just due to the brutality of the second half of their schedule. And Dak has shadily been the best quarterback in the NFL for the past month. Yes, they've played some horrendous defenses, but he's been lighting it up. And this season, he's fourth in EPA per play, fourth in completion percentage over expectation. And the Cowboys have been throwing the ball more than ever in the past 3 games. So I kind of am hoping that to continue. What do you think about that bet?
So, I mean, I think you got a good price. It's certainly reasonable. It looks like they have Carolina, Washington, Seattle,
4
Philly,
prime games too.
Miami, Detroit, Washington. I mean, there's not a lot of strong defense in that subset. So, I mean, at the price that you got it at, I kind of like that a lot.
All right. I'm glad to hear someone I respect's opinion on this and have it go my way. He's definitely not going to win, but great number, I thought. And it should have been a little lower. I think it was 26-1 at Circa, and it was 40-1 on Bet Rivers and MGM. But
yeah, I think you got a really good price.
Couldn't get much down, but I got what I was able to.
It sounds like that. That's a relatively normal experience.
I'm sure you know it all too well. Who do you like to win MVP at the moment?
Actually, let me pull up a market real quick. Last year was I don't play in the NFL futures markets all that much. The one person that I was thinking about earliest was Josh Allen, and I never pulled the trigger on it, to be honest. Not going to pretend that I did. I think if their team actually had a better luck to win ratio, I think maybe, he might be the favorite at this point. It's been very up and down, I guess, is the way that I would say it, right? Like the favorites seem like they've moved around. It was trendy to pick, I think, Lamar Jackson before last week. Then they lost to the Browns. It was trendy to pick Brock Purdy for a little bit, and now that's kind of down. Tua was another one. Of the prices that I don't like, I would say McCaffrey is one, Stroud is another. Goff is even at plus 3,000. I don't think that's a particularly good price. But I mean, Josh Allen looks like you can probably get him at 3,000 to 3,500. I don't know let's see what their schedule looks like the rest of the year.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Oh yeah, that's pretty.
It's not fun. It's the
no,
Jets,
it's not fun.
The Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, Chargers, Pats, Dolphins. Not great. 4 of the best defenses in the NFL in the next 4 weeks.
No, I think if you see, and again, this is a big if you see Joe Burrow and the Bengals win tonight, I think maybe his odds get a little bit better there. With Deshaun Watson as well, like he's done, right? So you could see Cleveland drop down. I think that makes the path a little bit easier for Cincy to make the playoffs. I kind of like his price a little bit in the 800 to 900 range.
I don't hate it. They've got the Ravens and the Steelers. Yeah, the schedule is definitely more favorable to them than it is to Buffalo, for sure.
Yeah.
Obviously,
like we say, it's all about price, right? Like, I mean, would I take Patrick Mahomes at plus 300 right now? No. I don't think he's had a bad season by any stretch, but I mean, from a statistical standpoint, he's certainly not blowing the doors off. He's doing the best he can with what he has as a team, but I think that's a tough sell.
And I think Hurts is what, plus 352 I saw today, or
yeah, in that neighborhood.
Yeah,
Lamar Jackson's 4 to 450, I think.
I wouldn't take any of those. Just do not pass the sniff test at all.
Yeah.
All right. The best game of the week is obviously Monday night Super Bowl rematch. Currently, it is Eagles plus 2.5, plus 107. Chiefs minus 2.5, minus 115. Eagles plus 130 on the money line. Over under 45.5. Who do you like Monday?
It's really hard not to take, the Chiefs at home, Mahomes under a field goal.
Yeah.
One thing that I liked when we spoke on Sunday night after the game was the under. I thought it opened too high. It opened at 46.5. It's now at around 45.5, 45 at circa. I think it's going to be, I don't think this will be a shootout type game. I think the Chiefs minus 2.5, minus 110, minus 115 is the way that I would lean. But I'll be honest, I do not have a strong feeling about that.
I think I'm with you. We all know about Andy Reid's success off a bye. We're not gonna regurgitate some trends here, but
and they're both off of a bye, right?
Yeah.
Like, so maybe you get 2 really awesome scripted drives the first quarter. So maybe you take a look at a first quarter over. I don't know. Like that could be something, fun and a little degen to play, but something to think about.
It definitely is. I'm just excited to watch. Like, I'm excited to watch tonight's game and Monday night's game because it feels like we haven't had those great marquee matchups at all this season, and we're kind of been deprived of them. So I really hope they both live up to the billing, but we'll see what happens. But before I let you go, we got to talk about the Yankees.
Ugh.
We're both big fans. What the fuck are they doing?
I mean, it's just mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake that compounds with that team. Cashman continues to act, I think, like they're one piece away from something big, and they're not. Like, I'm going all the way back now to the signing of Mike Stanton. from a value perspective, and I remember saying this to my friends, I'm like, I think it's a great trade if and only if, because he's so injury prone, if that leads to them not being willing to spend money and hamstrings them if it comes down to getting another bat or a pitcher or whatever, or he goes down and they have to eat the contract, then I don't like the trade. Like, they're not, I don't need them to spend, completely like wildly, but I think they're a little too fiscally conservative. I didn't like the Verdone signing.
Awful.
I did not like the Montgomery trade at all. I like that they started Volpe and let him play all year. That was one thing that I definitely did like. It's just a very tough team to get behind, given the success that you have seen in the past. It's just like watching the Roman Empire crumble.
You're right, and it's frustrating because it feels like it's like the definition of insanity. They're just running back like the same, what feels like the same team, just guys that are aging, injury prone, and then bringing back the two imbeciles that are leading the charge, Boone and Cashman. It's just like you watch these teams run circles around them. The Rangers, who have never won anything, they've won more pennants in the last. They've won more pennants since. They've won 2 more pennants since the Yankees have made the World Series. Like, that's insane. And they've gone through 2 different regimes. 3 pennants, excuse me. And like, you just watch them fire everyone at the end of 2020, make changes, 2 years later win the World Series. Like, at some point, enough is enough. And look, he had a good run, and it's just like time to probably say goodbye. But we all know we're stuck. Do you think that they will trade for Juan Soto? And would you like that?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, it depends on the price. Like, I'm still regretting. There's a saying, like, throwing good money after bad in gambling, right? Like, I'm sure you've heard that. I'm sure other people, who are listening have heard that too. What I would say is it depends on the price. It really sucked to see Dominguez get hurt towards the end of the year. Like, I wanted to see him all season, get a full season in. Is what it is. That happens. I guess what I would say is I'd be willing to give up some of the younger starting pitching. They have a little bit of depth from an infield perspective in the minors.
They've never been able to develop pitchers anyway, so it's just like
it's true, and that's a really like unfortunate and shitty way to have to look at it, but it's kind of true. Michael King started stretching him out from an opener to getting 4, 5, 6 innings out of him. I mean, I like him a lot. I think he's a great pitcher, or I think he's got a lot of potential, I should say. Like, certainly valuable to that team. I think Schmidt could be somebody that I'd be comfortable with moving. He, after a very, very rough start of an ERA around 4.5 or 5, if I'm remembering correctly, he started to pitch and have more solid quality starts. It all depends on the price. I think Soto's a good fit, though, and his age.
Tailor-made for Yankee Stadium. I must have added and dropped Clark Schmidt at least 15 times this season in fantasy, but I would love Soto. What I wouldn't love is them overpaying tremendously for Cody Bellinger, who had a very average year when you look at the underlying metrics, and I'm a little scared they're going to do that.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I mean about them, like, either overcorrecting or, the play was to get him when he was at his cheapest. Right. And they've decided to sink money into like these players that have high injury risk. It's frustrating.
It's very frustrating. It's unexplainable, and just like they've gone backwards since they made Game 7 of the ALCS 6 years ago. And they just keep going further and further and further away from it with every single move they make.
Yeah, well, they have this like idea that they need a very, very specific type of player, it feels like, in each position. And, their approach hitting is hard to watch, right? Like the way that they their batting average or whatever hitting metric you want to use with runners in scoring position is absolutely abysmal. it's really, really tough to watch. And I know the playoffs are a lot. There's a huge luck variance factor in there. I mean, like, look what happened to where we got to the World Series that we got, but it's challenging.
It's been frustrating. There's no other way to explain it. I hope something changes, but I'm a little pessimistic that it will. But all right, I'm excited for tonight's game. I appreciate you doing this, Clive. What do you have to plug? Where can people find you?
Clive Bixby 41 on Twitter, doing the Sunday Night Forward Progress shows with the Hammer Betting Network. Find us on YouTube. We tend to go on around 8 o'clock on Sunday nights, right after, the last late game ends, and, try and come in and get an idea of what myself, Rob Pizzola, thinks of which way the lines are going to move, and maybe find some early bets for yourself.
Two smart people. I encourage you all to listen to them. Clive, thank you for doing this, and we'll chat soon.
Thanks for having me, Casey. Talk soon.
Later.
See you.